Before moving on to the meditation and the self-hypnosis session, I just want to drop in just a few thoughts on emotional goals. Now, obviously I talk about it in the chapter, but I'd like to kind of go over it a little bit just on this video. And the world out there, everything that happens beyond this, you have little to no control over. You can influence, but inevitably what goes on around you and in the outside world, you have very little control over, which when you start to realize can be very liberating. However, some people feel anxious if they're not in control, but actually the one thing you have control over is how you choose to react to and relate to what is going on around there. So you actually have control of what's going on in here, not out there, although I appreciate that sometimes it can feel like you don't. When it comes to our goals, we mentioned on the voyage about having a focus, having a place of sense of purpose where we're going. And emotional goals give us that. And it's kind of important. If we set store in happiness, if we go, I'll be peaceful when, I'll be happy when, I'll be relaxed when I have this, and that's either an object or a thing, we really stand the chance of being disappointed. I'll feel happier when I have a really nice, brand new, reliable car. And for a while you are, and then the car starts breaking down. Well, the tax for it goes up, or the price of petrol goes up. And suddenly this thing that was going to make life better is now actually not bringing as much happiness and contentment as it did before. Emotional goals give us a freedom that putting our store in physical stuff does not. And by physical stuff, I also mean even jobs. I'll be happy and fulfilled when I'm a managing director. And I've worked with people who are managing directors who thought that was what they wanted to do, and then they get there and they feel empty because they're still not happy. That thing didn't bring them the happiness they thought it would. Managing director is just the first thing that popped into my mind. And but if we have an emotional goal, so let's say thinking of the future and you'd like to be living somewhere a bit rural, a bit countrified, and you'd be countrified, you'd be out in the country, and you're able to have a flexible job in, I'm going to say sales. Sales where you can travel around, it doesn't matter quite where you're based. As a goal, there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there's a lot of things that can get in the way of it happening. So what do? We take that goal, that would be amazing, go, why? Why do you want to live in the countryside? What is it that you envisage living in the countryside will bring you? I just like being in the countryside, might be the response. In which case, why? What is it about being in the countryside? What does it bring you? How does it make you feel? Question it. Question it, question it. It might be that you feel that living in the countryside will give you quiet time away from the job and the usual challenges of life, which in turn is bringing you a chance to relax, a chance to be at peace, to let go for a while, to feel good and centered. Do you need to live in the countryside to do that? Actually, no. There are other ways you can connect with those feelings. In fact, one of the things I found in living really out in the countryside, was quite remote, was on an ideals level, it was exquisite. It was up a dirt track to this little standalone cottage in a little recess with its own well overlooking the Welsh mountains. little bit of ground about. You can go walking up over the hill, and down was a beautiful lake. It was stunning. And yes, it gave me moments of absolute peace and tranquility. Sat around a fire watching the sunset, or first thing in the morning watching the sunrise. It was beautiful. However, I had to change my car because the car I initially had couldn't do the drive up to it to get a 4x4. But for a few months while sorting that out, I had to carry all the shopping, all the water, about a quarter of a mile up the track. The well didn't always work, didn't always have water. And as beautiful it was, it meant my actual travel costs and cost of living went up by about £80 a week. Not a month, that could be swallowed up, but a week is just for living the ideal. So there are many factors, some we don't think of and some that can come along and get in the way. Like if the car broke down, it'd be stuck on a mountainside, couldn't get out, couldn't get anywhere. So although I love those feelings that I got from those quiet times, the walks, the solitariness of being up there, on a practical level, it didn't help with stress. In fact, it was quite stressful living there, I'll be honest. But actually, I can arrange my time, even living, like at the moment, the office where I wrote the book, just there and down is the high street. Surprisingly quiet at night, which is nice. But I can walk from here out into some beautiful countryside in a number of directions and find that peace and quiet. I can jump in the car or on a train and go out somewhere where there's countryside and connect with. So sometimes the idea of being in that thing that brings us that feeling we want, when we actually get out there, we realize that it's not what it was cracked up to be. So identify the emotion, what the ideas you have for the future will bring you. When I first started getting into this line of work, I actually came to it via working with children, which is something I never thought I would ever do. But I had a conversation where someone said, well, what do you like doing? I really like helping people, helping them grow, move forward. And they said, what about care work? And to me, care work was kind of nursing old people and people that can't quite look after themselves. And which just, that didn't appeal. But that person then made me focus on, well, what's the feeling? And it was that feeling of satisfaction, that feeling of supporting and walking alongside someone. When I got back, I happened to chance across a thing about working with children, and I got in touch with the company and ended up 7 weeks later working for them. But I was focusing on how I wanted to feel, which then opened my spectrum up of the possibilities. If you focus that I'm going to do this thing and that thing will make me happy, there's a good chance it won't. Or that happiness fleets, it doesn't last. Whereas if you focus on how you want to feel, and you can do this into the future, you can do it waking up in the morning. By the end of the day, I want to feel relaxed, like I've had a good day. Doesn't mean you're not going to have challenges in that day. But it means that by the end of the day, you're going to go, wow, it's been a challenging day, but I can relax now because I've dealt with all that. So focus on, and I can't emphasize this enough, focus on your feelings, what you want to be doing, but how you want to be feeling in life. Because that's the thing that you experience all the time, except for when you're asleep, how you feel. And that is something that you can shape and you can take control of. And obviously there's an exercise in the book that takes you through how to work with that. Anyway, just a few thoughts there, and we're moving on now to meditation. And I'm going to share with you rather than do this little video, a little bit back, I taught a session where I taught 6 steps to a meditation practice, simple steps that will really help you build that up. And so I'm just going to give you that as part of my thank you for the book. You can sign up for it and do it online for 20 quid. but I'm just going to drop it in here so you can access that class and learn how to bring meditation into your life. See you.